doesn't get better.
Whoa. Oh.
Bugs were just nuts on that portage.
That is spooky.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh shoot. First day of a longer trip is always kind of surreal. You've been looking forward to it for so long. The day finally arrives. You got out of work and nothing happened. You know, you're able to leave. There were no family emergencies. And you're just here, in the here and now. There are a few escapes in life like this. Well, here we go. Starting out a 9-day solo trip. This is the farthest north I've ever camped. And Erin is tied up this week. She couldn't come with me. And I miss her already. I was so used to solo life, and now I really miss her when she's not here. But with the time, I'm gonna make a serious fishing trip out of this, looking for some good walleye and pike. This loop, the Marshall Lake Loop, starts out with a straightforward 1.2 kilometer portage. I'm halfway through with the second load. Real excited to start this thing. Well, it's an absolute peach of a day to start this trip. There's hardly a breeze, hardly a cloud. An eagle just flew over right overhead here, right as I arrived. Beautiful lake, loon calling, grasses everywhere. I think this is going to be a real special trip. Bugs are making themselves known here. Man, there's an enormous bird up there. I think it's a pelican. Believe it or not, there are pelicans in the north. They migrate here. The big bird spooked, unfortunately, but it was massive. First fish on. What do we got? Huh. Pike. He's got a bit of girth to him. Not too long. Not bad. Oops. Number 2. Pretty decent walleye. That's hilarious. Huh. He escaped through the hole. Oh well. Didn't even realize there was a hole. What do we have here? Obviously I wouldn't handle the lure or fish like that if I wasn't using only one treble with pinched barbs. Actually it's not a treble, it's clipped down to a tandem. It was otherwise a dangerous hold, but I guess I know what I'm doing. Hope so. Yep, I think it's a pelican. Looking at the screen here anyway. Hard to film this in the canoe. Yep, that's awesome. It's the first pelican I've ever seen in the north. Right on. Oh yeah, whew. It's getting hot. They are just huge. Remind me of that bird from Jurassic Park when they're flying off in the chopper. Fish on. Yep, little walleye. Another one through the hole. Both of my alleged walleye have squeezed out through the hole in the net. I'm going to close that up very shortly. Another pike. There we go. Spent way too long on Marshall Lake. It's a huge lake and I couldn't help but dilly-dally all around it. But now I'm in my first river, first of 3 on this trip, Grip River, aiming to spend the night on Grip Lake. Well, I'm at the second port. It's at an old trapper's cabin, which has been totally wrecked. Would have been pretty cool at one point. And I think I spotted some raspberries. Lovely. I just got this silky F180 folding saw, which is awesome for trail maintenance like this because it slips in your pocket. It's super lightweight and easy to handle. I had the Backcountry saw, but lost it on the Steel River loop, so replaced it with this, and it's cutting like butter right now. It's awesome, just like nothing. So when I'm soloing, my first load is my main pack with my paddle and backup paddle, my tackle box or tackle backpack, and my fishing net here. Second load is the canoe with the food barrel, and attached to the canoe are the mounts for the camera, for the fishing rod, and then also my fishing rod itself, which is attached using these bungee balls. Yep. Right. Felt him nip it a couple of times and he hit it boat side. Got this little outlet here. Beautiful marsh. There we go. Next cast. Another pike. Just lost a walleye. A small, very small one, but I have still yet to capture a walleye on film, I think. Oh. First cast. Pike. Second cast. Hey, a walleye on film. You see it? Chunky little walleye. Would be a nice eater, but I gotta get going. So I got 2 short ports coming up before Grip Lake, and this one's real bad. I don't know how they could have used this last year and cleared it. So this is gonna be a fair amount of work. It's not too long, but it's just really overgrown. And it doesn't get better. Whoa! Ah, jeez. Oh man, it's dangerous. That's exactly the problem with this little stuff. Sure, you can just stamp your way through it. Oh, jeez. But you can't see the pits and the snags and the ankle busters that are lying underneath. So you end up with twisted ankle. Well, it's getting on 8 o'clock and the bugs are just loving it. So I'm eager to get to camp. After this port, I'll be on Grip Lake. I gotta get going, but can't resist a couple of casts here at the outlet. Yep, fish on. Bugs biting. Light fading. Can't resist. Oh, nice little walleye. Beautiful. Whoa. Well, I'm gonna have to be satisfied with that. Gotta keep moving. I got some nasty like boogers on my clothing from that last port. It's like nature sneezed on me. If anyone knows a plant that does that, that has this goopy snot, I'd be interested to know what it is. I missed a turn and hit a dead end. Wasted a bit of time. Took out the wrong spot on the last port, wasted a bit of time. Mistakes you make when you rush. And some little ducklings that I passed are just screaming in terror that I'm coming back for them. Poor things. Beautiful channel in here, leading to Grip Lake. Wild rice, anyone? Tons of it. Fish to send off the day. What do we got? Not much fight. Oh no! Oh! Oh no! That was a decent fish. I could feel some weight, but I don't know. You never know. But I got a quick look at it there. That was pretty decent fish. Oh well. Oh, okay. It's after 9:30. About 5 hours later than I thought I would get here, due to underestimation of the time and just dilly-dallying on Marshall Lake. But we made it. Oh. Oh. All right. The hammock is up. Water is filtered, and I'm gonna chug some. I'm so thirsty. I'm so thirsty I'm not even hungry yet. But once I get hungry, I'm gonna smash some boursin. Whew, ended up being a long day. All right, I gotta get inside the hammock because the bugs are just nutty. So, holy cow. Just gonna slug down some scotch. And then get everything away and get the heck in there. Holy. Oh. Gotta get my wet socks and pants off. Oh, this is madness. Okay, I'm locking up. Oh, there are a bunch in here. Of course. Holy. Oh, oh man, tons in here. Oh no. Okay. Well, that was a pretty long night. Mosquitoes were like a dog on a bone. They were buzzing all night. Usually they settle down eventually, but not last night. And just wasn't sleeping too well. I'm using Erin's hammock to try the Hennessy, but it's only made for people up to 6 feet. I'm a few inches taller than that, so it was a little tight, a little cramped. I was always a bit bent. So that's gonna be not the best for 7 more nights. Oh, anyway, just gonna hammer down some breakfast and get out of here. Can't believe this is such a bug hole though. Like, it's all sloping. It should drain pretty well and it's pretty open. I don't know why there's so many mosquitoes here. Alright, let's get the heck out of here. Oh. Oh. What a bug hole. I don't think I've mentioned this before, but I do not use bug spray at all, except for like a all natural one, but almost never. I just think it's toxic. Don't want it. That's thunder. Shoot. There were originally thunderstorms forecasted for today, but that went out of the forecast, but I never fully trust that. Once there's a thunderstorm icon in that long-term forecast, I always assume there's gonna be some chance. So, see how far I get. Oh. As usual, it was a walleye. Lost it at the boat. Small. Well, I skipped over a port back there. It starts in a nasty thicket of alder. I'm just gonna try and wade this thing. It looks a little rough, but better than the port. I think I could shoot this actually. I'm gonna give this a whirl. All right, this is gonna be the most narrow run I've ever done. Barely the width of the canoe. See how this goes. Oh, there goes the paddle. It's coming with. Heads up. Whoa! Oh my. Oh no, no, no. My rod is in there. Oh no. Jeez, what a mess. Everything got tangled there. Rod is okay, good old ugly stick. That was ugly. Beats the port though. I had this hanging off the front of the canoe with the lure hanging out there. Completely forgot, got carried away. Oh boy. Sorry, buddy. Ugly stick elite. That's wicked. It was doubled over. Good job, buddy. Oh, that was so stupid. Rookie mistake. Didn't secure all my cargo, but it was still a lot of fun. And I skipped that stupid port. It's going gingerly through here. It's pretty bony. This is why I was repairing my canoe after the Steel River trip. It's because I treat it like this. Poor thing. Served me well. The ducks always do this. The mother tries to lead me downstream while the chicks run off. If you all just run off, I'll go away. I'm trying to find a channel here in the grasses. It really clogs up in some sections. On to Summit Lake now, which is huge. But very shallow. It's mostly just a marsh. Tons of wild rice still. Since I got a dehydrator this winter, I've been getting really into dehydrated fruit as snacks on trips. Pineapple is my favorite. Watermelon is good too. It's a lot like a fruit roll-up, but all natural. Whoa! got lots of great dehydrated stuff for this trip. Today for lunch I'm doing burritos, ground beef, pinto beans. This is gonna be real hearty. That's a lot of food I'm putting in. Bell peppers, just a little bit, onion, mushroom, and grape tomatoes. Just want to get that rehydrating right away before I even make the fire. And then of course I've got tortillas, cheese, and taco mix. Happy to get out of the sun here, eat in the shade. Especially being beside the fire, I'm really starting to get too hot. I don't bring gas cans. It's just less bulk, less weight, and a lot better for the environment. But man, it's hot on a hot day. Well, I'm at the end of Summit Lake on the second river of the trip now, the Powhatan River. Planning on spending the night here, probably 10 kilometers or so downstream. Whoa! and this watercourse flows to the Arctic Ocean in the Arctic watershed here. Gonna have to wade this, I think. Maybe not. It's tight, but getting through. Sweet. Somehow there was a path through that. Just barely enough. Oh! Small one, got off. Alright. Again, I'm trying to see where I'm going. There's no clear channel. It's real shallow here. Grassy as heck everywhere. I can't step out and wade because it's just, I sink right in. So much wetland here, it's just amazing. Tons of waterfowl, but plenty of songbirds, dragonflies, raptors. Just breathes life. So thick it's easy to feel lost in it in a beautiful way. Just skipped another short port by shooting that. That's 2 today that have been skipped, and then 2 left that I think are going to be required if I get to them. We'll see. Just had a fish go for it. Huh. Too small. In the river, which is fairly shallow, I'm trolling this jointed swim bait, hard swim bait. It's kind of fun. It's got a really great action. With all those joints, it really kicks in the water. I'm at the next port, and again hoping I can just scrape or shoot my way through these rapids. Let's see. All right, I scouted ahead. I think this might be a little rough. It's just low. But here we go. Shoot. Oh no. Ah. I missed my turn there. Sorry, buddy. My poor canoe. Just brutal. I just fixed you. I'm so sorry. It's 3 ports. 3 ports avoided. 1 left, and I think I have to do it because there's a waterfall. Similar to not bringing bug spray, I only bring a little bit of sunscreen just for my face. The reason, even in hot weather, I always have long sleeve, long pants, and a big hat is to keep the sun off me without having to put sunscreen on. A, it's more chemicals on your body. B, I hate going to sleep with it. Same with bug spray. Just all that caked onto you. It's not nice. There's some thunder off in the distance and some huge thunderheads rolling in. Luckily, I'm almost at where I'm going to set up camp. Might be in for a storm here. The wind's picking up, heavy drops are falling. I'm still in the sun, but it's got that feeling. Very nice port here. Waterfall ports are almost always good because everyone has to use them. Nobody runs the falls. And there's a nice campsite here. Ooh, snazzy. Might camp in here. Found a nice spot here in the woods to set up the hammock, a little away from the falls so it's not deafening. I really don't like hanging in the hammock without being able to hear if there's a bear huffing around my hammock. And I've got the scotch handy. Yesterday I barely got to enjoy any. It's just about 7 o'clock now, so I'm gonna work on that tonight. It's too heavy. I accidentally latched onto a dead tree. That didn't go as planned. My dry shoes, right as I get into them. There's so many fish here, it's ridiculous. I've got the fire going up there. There are big bangs of thunder in the distance. I can barely hear them over the falls. But the ambiance is just off the charts here. That was an awesome evening, just taking in the beauty of nature. And now it started to rain, so that's my cue to hit the hay. This would have been a nice one to enjoy with Yanni. So here's camp tonight. Lots left on this trip. Morning. Jig and a curly tail. Looks pretty magical down there. There's a side trip into Faubert Lake down there, and I was really keen on doing it, but my wrist, or a lingering wrist injury, I think it's carpal tunnel syndrome, I've never had it really checked out, which is stupid, is acting up, and I'd have to paddle into a headwind to get there. And it's about 10 kilometers. It costs me a day on the trip. I think for my wrist's sake, I was thinking about it for like an hour last night before bed and this morning too. I think I gotta cut it out of the list, but oh, it looks really nice. It's a real bummer to leave it behind though. Those are the places that I end up looking at again on a map after the trip, and they haunt me, just wondering what could have been. But in a province with over 250,000 lakes, that's a feeling that never goes away. And it's a feeling I'm lucky to have here. Anywho, I'm now on the third river of the trip, the Capicotongua, or the Cap. It's supposed to be nice, great pike and walleye fishing in here, so again, no need to go too far astray. But damn, it looks nice. I'd rather have lake and trees and rock than hide away in a southern box. First fish in the Cap. I've been trolling for like an hour and a half. Ooh. Some spunk. Hooks out. Came out in the net, it often does. It's barbless. Little pike. think that's an osprey. I can never remember all the calls. Been looking for somewhere to eat lunch, and there's literally nowhere along the shore for the last like 10 kilometers. It's just so lush. So, just eating in the canoe. That was a nice one. Easy. I think I'm gonna have to wade this one, but see how it goes. No clean lines anywhere, it's pretty bony. That was ugly. Oh, sorry. The fishing is nuts today, like really bad. The only thing I can gather is it's the heat. They must be buried in the weeds or in the deepest pockets. I'm walking this portage. It's about 650 meters, and clearing it along the way. It's just, it's encroaching so quickly. Huh, that's an interesting leaf. Huh. And it's a bit wet, so the bugs are here too. Spent almost an hour clearing that trail, only to decide that I'm not going to use it. I cleared the trail and then I started walking back along the river, and it looks like I can probably do it. The notes on the map describe it as being a gnarly class 2/3/4, depending on water levels. But they didn't seem like anywhere near class 4 to me, so I think I can run or wade them. All right, with a healthy amount of fear, here I go. I hope this doesn't suck. Shallow but easy here to start, and it looks like a bunch of stuff's gonna happen in a row here. I'm gonna play it safe and scout. Oh boy. Uh-oh. Shoot. Some real nasty stuff ahead. I'm gonna eddy out here. Let's give this a look first. I probably should have used the port. It looks like there's enough water to run them, but with a very thin margin of error. One wrong turn and I'm getting washed down here, which wouldn't be a lot of fun. And it goes a ways longer, so I'll be washed down a ways. At least the gear will. So I think I'm gonna try and line it. I'm really torn about it. I really want to try it, not necessarily alone in the middle of nowhere. But there's half of me, at least, my instincts, I guess, which are saying no. So it's a good idea to listen. this stretch might be good for me. I'm gonna hop in here and go. Oh no! You gotta be kidding me. Oh boy. Oh no. Oh shoot! Gotta be kidding me. That was awful. Awful. Wow. That's why you keep a second paddle handy. I actually had the tripod over it, which was stupid. Luckily it slid through. Still ran really badly after this. Would it have gone better if this hadn't happened? Maybe not. Heart's racing. I think I'll wade the rest. Oh, that. I probably should have used the port. I probably could have run the last 100 meters, but all confidence is gone in myself, so I've been playing it safe. I feel like I owe it to my canoe to play it safe. Just brutal. All right, here looks real bony, so it's time to wait again. I wasn't joking when I said that just killed my confidence. But I forced myself to run that last little bit just to get back up on the horse and say, you can do it. So that was everything not to do for whitewater. Sometimes you learn by doing things right, and sometimes you learn by doing way wrong. I need a fish right now. Made it though. I had one fish on, but it bit my tail off, didn't get the hook. Things are just crazy slow today. I'm trying to jig here just to slow it down. Oh, just felt a bite. Little walleye. Do you take this portage sign to be your lawfully wedded method of transportation? I do. I do. You may kiss the sign. Bless you. Bugs were just nuts on that portage. Black flies too. Mostly it's been mosquitoes so far, with the odd black fly, but both of them here. There you go. Unhooked himself. Just cleared the last port of the day, and I'm just looking for somewhere to camp. Oh. But there are widowmakers everywhere here. Can't camp here. Not safely. Well, if I clear this one out of the way. Okay. Now that can't fall this way, and I don't think anything is leaning, so I can set up in this area here. Hi, old friends. I gotta say, there was a lot more nostalgia there than I expected. I feel kind of sad burning it. Had that paddle for 6 years. Chili and garlic bread tonight. Late dinner. Just hanging on to a bit of sunlight here. Finally safe from the bugs in here. They got really bad at the end, right as I was doing the dishes. They were just pelting my face as I was walking. I could barely breathe. I've inhaled plenty on this trip, eaten some, and I wish Erin was here to commiserate with. No matter how hard you try, a bunch of them always get in. Oh, I am itchy. Still beats bug spray. Oh. Just doing my standard wind down, looking at my maps for the next day, listening to a little music on my phone, Flaming Lips, and plotting out my route for tomorrow using my little measuring stick. This lip chap equates to roughly 2 kilometers, and I kind of plan it out that way. But I'm going to shut it down soon because between the heat, the bugs, and the misadventure in the rapids, I'm pretty tuckered out today. A little bit cooler today, which is nice, at least for now. Misty, super calm, smells beautiful. Paddling past this old forest fire. Looks like it's probably about 10 years old. And gonna make it to a lake today and set up camp there and have a rest day, which will be awesome for my wrist. And just really nice in general to get off the river and have some, wide real estate to look at. Had a horrible sleep last night, so I'll be glad to have the rest day as well. Chewing on something. Otters are hilarious. First fish all day. Whoops. Nice walleye. I'm in the Sedgman Lake Provincial Nature Reserve now. It follows the Cap River, and it's much of the same. I haven't been recording much because it's all very pretty, but it's kind of the same throughout. Beautiful mare's tails today in the sky. Another beautiful day. Really hit the jackpot with the weather so far. Just thrilling action here on the Cap. What a rush. What a beautiful campsite this is. I'm just stopped here for lunch, but this is the nicest campsite on the river. Even nicer than the one by the falls, I think. Secluded. It's a random piece of rock here, which is quite unusual. It's just so grassy and marshy everywhere. Beautiful. I've been really looking forward to trying this one. It's Hawaiian shrimp and rice. Got pineapple, bell peppers, dehydrated shrimp, rice, and then I'll add coconut. It's good. It's a nice change out here. There's a bear. Gets my heart racing. He's not far. Right there. I'm not sure if it's curious or why it's looking at me. It ran off scared earlier into a different set of bushes. Now it seems to be looking at me all stealthy. Whoa. I'm a human. You should run. Doesn't seem too fussed about me. Just gorging. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna leave him alone now. Funny enough, he was right at the sign marking the edge of the nature preserve. No matter how many encounters you get like that, they're all still pretty special. Still standing up in there. He's running off now. That's funny. So that's the Cap River behind me where I came from. The route continues that way on the Cap, but I'm ducking off to a little side lake here. Spend the night, maybe two, depending if my rest day works out. Decent walleye. Back to a deeper, larger body of water. Things are looking up already. This is more like it. It's a nice meaty walleye. Thanks, buddy. Both of those walleyes came on this flicker shad. Here's home for the next 2 nights. Got a sweet beach. It's the second beach I stopped on. The first was junked Someone left a barbecue there, just glass bottles, all the nasty stuff that I absolutely can't stand. Those are the worst kind of people, selfish, thoughtless, care nothing for nature. Anyway, cleared out a little space in here for the next 2 nights. It's pretty sweet. Got 1,000 bug bites in doing this. Real nice big jack pine here. Nice shaded spot with a view. And the walleye fishing is quite promising so far. Another nice little walleye. There he goes, that's okay. This lake is a dream. Whatever I gave up from Valbert Lake by not going there, the rest day I'm gonna get here is just worth every penny of time. Walleye again, just shake him here. Or not. Yeah, this is an unbelievable lake. There he goes. Got a bit of a rainbow going on there. Some random sprinkles produced that. Cool thing I learned about rainbows a couple of years ago is you can never see them looking at the sun. You have to look away from the sun to see a rainbow. It sounded kind of deep. First pike here. One more to round out the day, one more walleye. Thanks, buddy. Bugs got really bad just as the light left. And I was hoping a smoky fire would get rid of them. I put those damp beaver log on there, but they're real bad, so gonna get in the hammock, get safe. Oh, there's this weirdest sound coming from a couple places around here, like behind me and in front of me. Sounds kind of alien. It's small, whatever it is. It's making a bit of noise as well, just moving. But it's weird. I have no idea what it is. It sounds kind of like a note on the flute. I'm pretty certain it's not an owl. So, there's some kind of small alien here, is my conclusion. Well, it's walleye day. It's also laundry day. I've got my dry bag that I keep my clothes in with some water inside of it. Got my dirty clothes. Often I don't need to do this, but with the heat, it's worth it on this trip. This is the rinse cycle. I dumped out those rinsed clothes. Now I've just got soap and water in here. Just getting it nice and sudsy. Camp suds. Add the clothes back in. Shake it all around. Get that fresh lemony scent all over it. And I'll just let this soak for 5 or 10 minutes to take on that scent while I have breakfast. Pass this to Erin. Pass this to Erin. Pass this to Erin. Erin's not here. Erin's not here. Erin's not here. Erin! I miss her already. Sure wish Erin was here. I wish Erin was here. And I wish Erin was here. I wish Erin was here. I wish Erin was here. Sure wish Erin was here. Here, hun. Have a croissant. Look at us, walking down the beach, arm in arm, like a couple of teenagers. High hopes today. I don't care if Erin gets it or I get it. Either way, I'll be real happy. Doing a drift here past one of the most prime spots on the lake, I think. It's a nice big point heading out into the main lake with some weeds on it. I'm fishing this Freedom Hydra jig head with a paddle tail, and I want to go completely weedless because of the weeds here. So all I do is push up the plastic a little, the soft plastic, and just dig the tip of the hook into it. If a fish bites it, it becomes exposed again, but while you're fishing, you're going totally weedless and it just slides right through them. Real nice weeds here. Yep. Oh, just missed one. Oh, do you see that jump? Oh, like bass fishing. Oh, he ripped my my paddle tail off. Dang, it's a pretty nice walleye. Oh man, this paddle tail's pretty long, so they really have to gulp it to get a hook. But I kind of like that for pike, so they don't bite you off. There we go. Oh, there we go. Stood up to get a better hook set. Not big enough for the dinner table. Now that I want a fish for lunch, I can't get any big enough. Yesterday they were all over the place. So fish is gonna have to be for dinner, but I had another recipe I was eager to try, which is chickpea curry. I love chickpeas. Let's see how this goes. It's pretty darn good. Decent pike on. Might be too big to eat. Too big for one person anyway. Yeah, I can't justify taking that fish for one meal. Pretty good pike. All right. Make sure she's recuperated here. Yep, there she goes. Thanks, darling. Got that one in the shallows here, probably 3 feet of water in these grasses on this paddle tail, which she savaged, ripped the tail right off with a vicious strike close to the boat, and then she came back for more. Reloaded with a bit smaller one. Check out this crazy rock. It's got two like eye-shaped rings in it. It's super bizarre. It's like a mask. It's a rock though, it's heavy. Wow. That is spooky. Finally, one for the pan. Cut to shore and dispatch the fish immediately. Time to clean it up. I prefer to do this just on the shore randomly somewhere so that none of the remains are on my campsite. It's better for bears. Oh, crazy good. Great day. That walleye was so good. Even Erin liked it, and she doesn't even like fish. Right, honey? Erin's not having any scotch tonight, so I'm gonna have her share. Okay, I'm gonna zip up and do a little reading. I forgot how nice this is. This is why it's so important to have long trips. It's so important to have a rest day on a long trip. You get to do stuff like this that you never get to do in regular life, and it's just so relaxing. I haven't done this even myself all season because I've either been with Erin and we've been on trips that were too demanding for reading, or I've just been on my own. I've had lots to do on short trips, so this is pretty nice. I think I may have gotten the seniors edition. This font is like size 16. And the little boy is evidently troubled by his parents' divorce. That's where I'm at. He's flying in a bush plane, and they're gonna crash for sure. Can't get a look at this fish. Not enough daylight anymore. But it's right here. Oh. Another decent walleye. Pretty good. Had a fish slam it here. Oh, that looked like a pretty thick tail. Buried in lily pads here. Holy, got some good power. Still can't see it, the water is so dark now. What do we have? Oh. Certainly a pretty decent one. Strong. Oh, I can't get a net on him. Oh. I try to embrace winter. I do. And I like it. But evenings like this make it so hard. This is too nice. Oh boy. Come here. Won't come in. Just super feisty. I'm gonna let you go. There we go. Just girthy like the other one today. Not that long, but just thick, strong as heck. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. That's a pretty nice pike. And the proportions on it are really weird. Like, it's not super long. Pretty long, but it's just super thick more than anything. Just gonna get it back real quick here. Get her upright. She fought really hard. That's a good, I don't know, at least 10-pound pike. Don't rush them off when they're with you after a long fight. She's breathing fine, I can see that, but probably just panting like a runner at the end of a marathon. Come on, girl. You're okay. It's the warm water as well. It makes it harder for cold water species like pike to revive themselves. There's a real temptation here for anglers to drag the fish back and forth or to shoot them off and hope that that propels them. Just wait. Be still. Be patient. She was lightly hooked too. Lightly hooked, and I had her out of the water for, what, 15 seconds? Yeah, I can feel her strength coming back. And let's see what she does here. Stay close. Yeah, there she goes. Swimming away into the weeds. Caught that fish on the Freedom Hydro Jig Head, along with this paddle tail, which is no more. It's just too shredded. After a certain point, they just won't stay on the jig. Sad thing is, I can't hardly enjoy a moment like this anymore without thinking how we're destroying it. All of this. Environmental grief. That's what they call it. It's hard to believe we could be given such a gift and ruin it. We, including me, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm part of it. I don't know if you saw that, it's a pretty good walleye. Got on the water pretty early today, and it's just been an incredible morning. Cool, windy, northern, and beautiful, ruggedly beautiful. Back on the Cap River today, heading for Stewart Lake. Right now I'm in a widening known as Spurger Lake, I believe. Quite nice. Feels very remote. I fried up some salami in Havarti because the salami had been in there for 6 days. It's supposed to be refrigerated. And it was starting to smell pretty funky. In fact, every time I opened the food barrel, it was kind of gross, so figured a little fry would help it out. Makes me realize how much grease is in salami and processed meat too. There was so much oil in the pan. Really good though. With some dried tomatoes, mustard. Caught one. Leave that for the otters. Leaving the Cap River behind, it continues on that way. I just came from there and I'm heading down south now into a lake section. Got a few big lakes coming up in the next few days. Yeah, just blasting through Stewart Lake. Decided I don't think I'll camp here unless I find something nice. But got something for my trouble along the way. Nice walleye. The wind is up. This is exactly why I would prefer small lakes. This one's not even one of the big ones. Pretty good walleye lake. Yep. Yep. Well, I was planning on going past Stewart Lake, but the headwinds and the fishing convinced me to stay. I'm gonna make a huge dinner here and then see what the lake has in store for me this evening with the fish. Well, I was looking forward to a feast of garlic bread with my chili, but there's a little problem. I had 10 slices left for nothing. I was going to eat them all just to avoid this, but I am too late. Looks like the last one, they might not have any mold, but it's still pretty gross. No, it does. Awesome. Oh well, I'll just eat some more fish this trip. Went out fishing after dinner and looked across the lake and saw this huge sweeping cloud of rain coming toward me. Bolted back, got back just in time. Rain's light now, but it could come on. It's a good feeling. Feels safe, dry, comfortable as can be. The bugs aren't bad tonight. It's a complete miracle. This part is pretty funny. The kid is on the tree line, well north of here, and the bugs are eating him alive. And in the book they write, never in all the reading in the movies he had watched on television about the outdoors, never once had they mentioned the mosquitoes or the flies. All they ever showed on the naturalist shows was beautiful scenery or animals jumping around, having a good time. Nobody ever mentioned mosquitoes and flies. Nothing special. Today is by far the shortest day of the trip in terms of distance. I probably only have to cover about 5 kilometers. And the only reason I'm stopping there is to fish Stone Lake, which is a relatively remote, large lake. Probably has some big whoppers. There's a nice moose up ahead, ducking his head into the weeds, munching away. Let's see if I can get closer. I think if I try and paddle past him, I don't think he'll mind. He must have realized I was here by now. Doesn't seem to care. Hey, oh. I'm here. Just letting you know. He's a bit more interested now. Still eating, but looking straight at me for a while now. Oh, okay, if he saunters off, that would be perfect. Yep, good moose. Oh, there goes the wind. That was just magical. What a beautiful bull. Trotted off like he weighed nothing. I was just thinking, this headwind is killing my right wrist. I can barely paddle on my right side now. It's drizzly this morning, it's pretty cool. Overcast. That just made none of it matter. The blueberries have been dismal on this trip. This is the best bunch that I've seen. There should be thousands of bunches like these. Just ran off. A little mink, I think. I can see the rain coming across the lake. It's about to get wet. Battling this wind, but can't help but troll. Nice walleye. Finally out of the wind, found my camp for the night. Food barrel's pretty empty. Got 3 burritos on the way, cheesy. Thankfully the tortillas are not molded. They seem to last a lot longer. I'm pretty much drooling here as I wrap these up. Weirdest bird call. What the heck? Just a crow? Never heard a crow make that first noise. Weirded me out for a second. Doing a fish fry again tonight. Nice loon with some shrimp ramen noodles. I'm excited. Shockingly good every time. Yum. Cheers, Stone Lake. It's been one of the most enjoyable trips of my life. The scenery hasn't been mind-blowing, it's just super pretty and peaceful. But the experiences, it almost feels like the trip's over because I don't know what else I could ask for. It's calming down now, so it's time for a paddle. Fish on. Just enjoying the sunset. As usual on this trip, I haven't slept very well in Erin's too small hammock. But the upside today is watching the first crack of light come into the sky with the loons calling. log cabin on that point there. So sweet. Every moment of this morning has been magical. From the otters, the sun, the birds, the calm, the lack of bugs. My soul is just full to overflowing right now. So happy. So I've got 2 portages left on this trip. This one is 1.6 kilometers. The last one is 2.2. It's quite a contrast versus the piece of this morning. The 2.2 is tomorrow, so just one today. It's not too bad. And it seems, before I speak too soon, pretty clear. Some decent blueberries in here. Still not that many. But also some fakers like these. And more commonly these. I find these grow with blueberries quite often. I don't know what they are, but that means I don't eat them. Disturbed a hive. Oh man. Oh. Oh. Only got a couple stings. Oh, but that scares the crap out of me when that happens. Oh, a throb. It's just so sudden and shocking. I was just swiping away, hacking, evidently hit something. But thankfully they didn't swarm me. It makes the mosquito bites seem like kisses from a fairy. I have to go back now with the canoe. Hopefully they don't pay me any mind, or they just attack the canoe. That would be fine. Almost there. Whoa! Oh, it's mucky. I'm stuck. Oh. No, it's got my shoe. There. Our lake. Ara is a mega lake. It's just massive. Oops. That's a lot of lake back there. Almost through it. I'm 2/3 of the way through the aptly named Arameta Channel. It's this huge channel in between Ara and Meta lakes, which is alone the size of most lakes, if not more. It's impossible to really grasp how big these lakes are until you're actually paddling on them. On a map, you can never really appreciate it. It's been a long day of paddling, but I'm almost into Meta Lake, the last lake of the trip. A full day of getting baked in the sun, plus the lack of sleep is catching up with me. Pretty eager to make camp here and call it a day. 8 days in and the food cravings are really starting to creep up on me. Just got a Wiku one for McDonald's, and most of the trip I've been dying for like a blizzard or a milkshake. Can't seem to find camp anywhere here. I'm debating setting up in the bush here. I can drift down to some islands out in the middle of the lake, but they're like 2 kilometers away, and I'll have to make up that ground tomorrow. Where I want to camp is down that way, another few kilometers, but I have to fight through a wicked headwind to get to it. This wind is really sucky right now. I was thinking of trying to tackle it, but now I'm having second thoughts. I have to eat dinner here. It's just a tinder box in there. Wouldn't be safe. Done dinner, and it's after 6. The wind doesn't seem to be letting up, so I'm just gonna improvise in here. It's got a cute little archway. It's got that going for it.
This was a good book. Takeaway from the book is that the more time one spends in nature, the more one embraces that lifestyle, and not only embraces it, but starts to resent and reject the regular life. I certainly relate to that. When I'm out here, I don't even want cell phone signal. I haven't even tried to pick up a signal. I know I won't get one. It'd be nice for a weather forecast, but otherwise, I do not want any kind of connection. If there was a McDonald's here, despite whatever cravings I have, I would not want it. I just want to be where I am with the limitations that I have. The simplicity of it is just something you don't get in day-to-day life. The final day of a long trip is always so bittersweet. You wake up so many times thinking you have more days to explore, but eventually those days run out. You don't want to go home, but you have to. But I got a box of chocolate chip cookies waiting for me in the car, and a beautiful woman at home. So it's time to wrap this beauty up, get this last long portage done, send her home. Carbo loading here with some fettuccine alfredo before this port. After this, I have literally nothing left in my food bag except spices, tea, and coffee.
This is a real tough takeout here. This quicksand. Trying to push my way into the canoe so I don't sink down. Already took my 2 heaviest bags out. Got them to shore. So there's this yellow little portage sign there, that's where I took out, and this orange flag. Turned out there was another turn in the creek, which would have been a lot easier. Oh well. Past the 2-hour mark now, and it starts to get pretty tedious. Two hours and 20 minutes of buggy portages later, and it's done. That means to close off, I just want to say thanks to Rob Haslam for putting me onto this route, for making the maps for it and putting them out there, for being a steward of this route and others in the north, and for lending me materials to repair my canoe after the Steel River trip. Thanks, Rob. No chance you made it this far in the video if you ever started it, but anyway, thanks. finished that trip a year and a half ago. It is one of my favorites. It was one of the most enjoyable trips I've ever done. I originally posted it as a 3-part series and got a number of questions which I summarized here on my phone, and I'm going to go through them here rapid fire. I've got 25 questions here that I thought were the most recurring themes or more interesting questions that might be applicable to everyone, and I'll get right into them. This is rapid fire, so I just don't understand why you're not eating some of the great fish. For that very reason, I will not subscribe to your channel. The reason I don't eat all the fish is because A, it would be way too much food for one person. B, I'm filming these wilderness trips as a soloist and trying to fish, and like it is a lot. To do this alone is one thing. To also add fishing and to try and film it all is very demanding. So that's why I do a lot of the food prep at home, and that's why I can't eat fish all the time. Sometimes I just don't have time, sometimes I just don't feel like it as well. That paddle was repairable with cord. Why did you burn the paddle? That was all in caps, which I learned might be because some people, if they have like not great vision, they find lowercase letters hard to read. So that was good to know. Someone pointed that out to me. So if you see someone writing in caps, it's not that they are yelling, it's just that it's easier for them. So the paddle, I don't think it was repairable, not that easily anyway. Yeah, I could have brought it home and put wood glue in it. I don't want to risk it breaking again on a wilderness trip. It's obviously going to be compromised to some extent. It's not going to be as strong as if it was brand new. And I would have had to carry it the rest of the way. That was the end of the whitewater as well. So that was my whitewater paddle. I wasn't concerned about my other paddle breaking and not having a backup. If that paddle did break, then I would repair that one. So yeah, I wasn't concerned about it. What hammock are you using, and are you happy with it? That was the Hennessy Jungle Expedition or Explorer, the smaller of the two, whatever it was, which is actually my partner's hammock, Erin. And she is a fair bit shorter than me. I'm 6'3", and her hammock was made for people up to 6 feet. I thought maybe I could squeeze by. At the time I was looking for a new hammock. Tried it. It is not big enough if you're 6'3". So I didn't sleep that great, as I alluded to in the video, but otherwise the hammock was fine. But we've since got the Amok Drommer hammocks, and that's our go-to. What's the plan if a bear does show up sniffing around your hammock? If that happened, I would make loud noises, and I would hopefully have some kind of implement that I could use to bop it on the nose. The face, eyes, nose are very sensitive, so that's where you would want to strike if you had to. And then as a last resort, I typically do have the bear spray in my hammock, capped of course, and somewhere I put it somewhere where I'm not going to accidentally set it off, because that would just get me. And I say it's a last resort because usually I'm going to have the bug mesh on the hammock in the summer, and if I was to spray that inside, if the bear was like literally tearing through it, then it would incapacitate me as well. And if I got it worse than the bear, then it's even a worse scenario. So that's why I say it's a last case scenario. I have never had an issue in hundreds of days of wilderness travel with bears, though, for the record. Okay, I'm trying to keep this rapid fire. Do you carry a pen flare with bear bangers? No, but they're effective. I could, but I just carry bear spray. What kind of rod and reel are you using? On this trip, it was an Ugly Stick Elite 7-foot one piece, and the reel was a Pflueger Supreme 35, I think. I love both of those. Why the single hooks? Legal reasons in Canada or preference? It's not legal reasons. There are a couple of provinces in Ontario, Manitoba, and maybe BC, where barbless hooks are required, and but I think you can still use trebles, meaning like 3 hooks on the one hook. But I clip them down to tandems, and I pinch the barbs because I'm releasing so many fish. It's so much less damaging on the fish. Believe me, I know I've had a barbed hook inside my skin and had to rip it out. It's very unpleasant, and I was already conscious of the issue at that point. But since then, no, I would never want to do that to a fish, so that's why I do that. What about a head net? I had a head net on this trip, like a bug net to put around just my head. I wear it as a last resort. I really like freedom, feeling free, and even though the bugs are all over, they're going to be swarming you either way, and I find the swarming is probably the most unpleasant part, more so than the actual bites. So in the heat, like this was a pretty hot trip for my standards. I live in Northern Ontario and I cannot take heat. 30 degrees Celsius or like 90 degrees Fahrenheit, anything like that kills me. So having a polyester head net on is it really overheats me. So I only wear it if I absolutely have to. We've since got bug jackets, which I like, and I will wear those. But again, they overheat you. What kind of camera did you use? It's a Panasonic FZ300. It's got tons of zoom, an articulating screen. Whoops, just spilled tea on my phone. And it's not terribly expensive. So if something happened to it in the backcountry, then I wouldn't be, devastated. Is this more your main camera, or do you mostly use your GoPro? Combination. If it's really raining hard, this camera is weather sealed, but it's not waterproof, so it can take a little bit of rain and splashing. But if it is pouring, if I'm running rapids, then I'll use GoPros. If I'm on the trail hand holding it, then I'm going to use the GoPro because it has excellent stabilization built in versus this camera, which doesn't, and it would be a lot jerkier. So if I'm moving, if I can use a tripod, I'll use this camera, the FZ300. And if I'm on the move or water is a factor, then I'll use the GoPros. And I carry 2 GoPros now, as well as a GoPro Max 360 camera, this camera, the drone. I sometimes bring an underwater camera, so there's a lot that goes into the filming. How many GoPro batteries did you go through? Specifically for GoPro, 9, but I carry over 20 batteries in total. So for real, there are 250,000 lakes in that region. In Ontario, yeah, there are about 250,000 lakes, 250,000 lakes in this province. So you can see why I love it. Amazing paddling place. What kind of canoe do you have? It is the canoe that I took on this trip. I have a few now, but this one was a Prospector 15 foot in Expedition Kevlar, which is like, it's Kevlar but a bit heavier layup, so it's tougher, more rugged. I put it through the ringer. It's from a smaller company called Beach Marine in Hamilton, Ontario. It was very affordable compared to a lot of composite canoes. So yeah. What kind of rod holder do you have clamped to your canoe? The brand is Scotty, and it has really served me well. I've smashed it into trees on portages because I usually leave it clipped onto the gunnels of the canoe. Sometimes I'll accidentally smash it into a tree, and it's plastic, but it's held up because it's made in Canada. It's high quality plastic. I really recommend that, and I have a video about that if you're looking. Do you take any preventative shots / medications before trips to locations like this? No. Really an interesting question that I've never really thought about because we just don't have those kinds of parasites here. You can get Giardia from drinking untreated water, but that's really all you're... I don't think there's a shot for preventing that. If there is, I want it badly. If I could just drink water from the lake, that would be amazing. You certainly can, and you probably won't get Giardia, but if you do, it's going to suck really hard. I've heard that it's awful. But in terms of like malaria and things like that, we're super lucky in Canada. We don't have carriers of that, and we have very few poisonous insects, reptiles. I think the only ones are Massasauga rattler and maybe a couple of spiders, but extremely rare and really not something that we worry about here in Ontario or hardly at all in Canada as well. What would you do if the boat gets damaged, holes, cracks, etc.? I've had this happen before, and we super glued some birch bark to the bottom. It was on the Steel River. But if I didn't have that, you can use spruce resin. Like there's a sap kind of that comes out of spruce trees. You can use that as impromptu glue. So that's probably what I would do if I had nothing else. But I usually carry duct tape as well. Duct tape fixes everything, you know, it'll get you by for a while. If it was a severe crack or I wrap the canoe, this isn't a plastic canoe, so it's not going to bend back. So I think I would be walking out at that point, and knowing your walkout strategy and your exit points through any trip is always something that goes into your planning. So I would be walking out if it came to that. Anyone know what size that dry bag would be? My dry bag is a Mech Slog Deluxe. I think it's called Slog HD now. If they're still making it, they might have discontinued it, but it's 115 liters. I love it. I'm always going to go with a dry bag backpack as a paddler now. If it's raining or if you're running rapids, you're never worried about it getting soaked and penetrating through to your clothes, as long as you wrap it up properly. And
115 liters I think is necessary. You can get smaller ones for sure, but we easily fill that up for especially shoulder season trips where it's colder and we have to pack heavier. In the summer we can probably pack lighter, but I like having the extra space. Have you seen lynx in the wild? Yeah, I've seen, the first one I saw was the best of all. It was on the shore, it had the sun in its eyes so it couldn't see me that well in the canoe, but for me it was just perfectly lit with golden hour lighting. I got a bit of footage of that. I've seen another one near here, well, a few hours away from here, and it ran into the woods before I could get any footage. And I saw one recently this fall, but only its butt. It had just turned around as I caught wind of it, or caught my eye, and it was running around, but it was a lynx's butt that I saw. So if that counts, then I've seen 3. Do you dehydrate your own meals? Yes. I almost never buy the packaged ones because they're so expensive and they have so much sodium in them. But mostly it's the price. I'm just a frugal guy. I've always been worried about leaving my vehicle for this long just at the end of a logging road. Was there a decent parking area for this trip? Do you have any recommendations for finding out about parking in these remote trip locations? There's unfortunately no simple answer to that. Up in the north, there's so much crown land, there's so many back roads, there is always somewhere to park, at least in the summer. In the winter, it can be the hardest when things are just buried in snow and the road might not even be plowed. And if it is, then all the snow is on the bank and it leaves you nowhere to park. But in this case, there was a parking lot with lots of ample parking. There are always forums you can go to, like one I'd recommend in particular for this trip was Greenstone and Area Canoe Routes on Facebook, run by Rob Haslam, who I mentioned in the video. So much good information on there. You could definitely get answers to questions like that for this area. MyCCR is a great resource if you're looking for information about paddling resources in Canada. But there's no simple answer to that. It varies wherever you are. Did you ever figure out the aliens? So they're talking about that weird sound I was hearing on my rest day. And that was after I saw that crazy rock with the 2 rings in it that looked like eyes, and then the nose and the chin were kind of shaped out too. So it was a crazy rock, and then to hear that noise at night. Some people have provided feedback on that, and we think it might be some kind of owl, but I listened to the calls for that owl and they don't sound exactly the same, so I have no idea. Whatever it was, I doubt it was aliens. I'm pretty sure it was something in nature. There's so much diversity in nature that it can always surprise you, so I'll just say it was that. Did you go through an outfitter? No, I never have. I have all the gear and generally the knowledge for this area to go out and do it myself. But there are outfitters across Ontario. If you're ever looking, there's bound to be one nearby. What kind of scotch? The scotch I was drinking was a blended scotch, so not single malt, and it was Isla Mist. It looks like Islay, but it's, I think, Isla. And it is my favorite. It is half the price of a single malt. Favorite for the money. My favorite overall is Lagavulin, but I was recently sent a scotch by our friend Byrne in Texas, and it was Ardbeg, another Isla from the same area as the other one I was talking about, and it is Lagavulin's equal. It was phenomenal. We're still drinking it. We're savoring it. We just got it, so we'll be sipping that one as slowly as possible to enjoy it. Question 24, almost at the end. Are you wearing standard shoes when canoeing? I get they would be better for rugged portages, but getting wet and staying wet all the time wouldn't be comfortable, would it? No, it's not. It's not comfortable. They are standard boots. They're Keen Targi 2s, mid-height, and I get them wet. They're just regular boots, and I get them wet because I've learned in canoe tripping, if you're going on rough routes where landings aren't always dry, and if you're in rapids and you need to wade, I just get them wet. I used to try and keep my feet dry, and it was extremely inhibiting for travel in this wild area. There is so much water, and that means there's a lot of wet spots. If it's not just lakes and rivers, there's marshes and just mucky areas, muddy portages. My advice is just to commit to getting them wet. Where to next? Last question. It's always changing. I could decide one thing, and then before that time arrives, I've decided to go somewhere else. Always just going where the wind blows me, and a lot of exciting plans coming up though. Leave it at that. Hope you enjoyed the video and this little rapid fire Q&A, and I'll have a bunch of videos linked here that are similar to this one if you enjoyed it. Click through. See you on the next one.